how useful is this knowledge in everyday life? Well, look, if you are or have experienced any difficulties or challenges in relationships, may they be platonic or erotic, challenges at work, suffered from stress, anxiety, depression, any addictions, if you have or are having issues with your weight, your body image, if you avoid confrontation and would prefer not to, basically pretty much anyone that can understand this information will benefit from it. If you are unhappy with the way you behave in certain situations and you would like to change your response in a healthy way, if you want to understand others better and learn how to communicate in more effective ways with them, then understanding and working with ego states is most certainly going to be an extremely useful tool for you. This video is going to be for everyday life. So we're going to use layman's terms. The technicalities you can go and look at on Google. Google it away, you'll find billions of different things. Ego states falls under psychoanalysis. It's part of transactional analysis. Berne was the clever guy behind it, and he is the author of Games People Play and a couple of other books. Those who look outside dream. Those who look inside awaken. Carl Jung, an amazing psychoanalyst, one of my favorites. What's the point of that quote? The point of that quote is that if you keep looking outside of you in order for you to go off and be able to feel a certain way or achieve certain things, then you are going to only but be dreaming of those things that you really want to achieve. What you need to do is look inside. Start to understand, start to discover, start to find out all these beautiful things about you. If you're going to do a degree, the most useful degree you could ever do would be one in yourself. Who the hell am I? Yeah, what am I about? What are my triggers? What makes me feel and do the things that I do? It's about understanding them from a gentle, from a loving, from an empathic place, because the moment that you start judging anything that you've realized, anything that you've understood, you are going to basically lose it. It's going to be pointless, worthless. What are ego states? Okay, well look, the simplest way for you to understand ego states is to start thinking about when you are in a particular mood or a state of mind, ego states, state of mind, when, for example, you're at work, because you will be in a particular state of mind at work, which tends to be your default at work. When you're at home, you tend to have another state of mind, which would be default. And then again, when you're with certain friends. Some of us don't like to mix our friends. Why? Because with certain friends groups that we socialize with, we're actually different. We're in different ego states. And so mixing these friends is going to be a little bit tough because we're going to look slightly schizophrenic. Once you've started to think about these moods and the states of mind that you're in, what you want to do is relate them to your past. Were you behaving in ways that your parents or your guardians or primary caregivers used to behave when you were growing up? Or were you behaving in ways as you did when you were a child? Again, in certain situations. What were you like at school? Did you like school? Did you not like school? Was school a great fun playground for you where you socialized and made lots of friends? Or was it somewhere that actually you felt quite lonely and that you didn't have many friends and actually you felt like a bit of an outcast? Now, understanding these things is going to be so helpful for you. Not just understanding them, actually really getting to know them in a great detail. How was I? How did I used to feel? What were my coping mechanisms? What did I used to do? These things are important because in your adult life, we're playing them out. It's like a beautiful epic movie, like let's say Avatar. It's Avatar just playing over and over again in 4K, Ultra HD. And it's going round and round in circles. And we're playing this out over and over again. Unfortunately, unconsciously, until we start to bring it into our awareness by learning, by understanding, by discovering, by going, God, that's interesting. An example would be one of my jobs. I was a manager. And at work, I had a team of approximately 12 people. And I would be in my parent state, a particular parent, but I would be in my parent state a lot. And it happened to be critical parent. Why? Because I would actually start to behave a lot like my mum used to. Now, my mum, for example, was very much a stickler for time that we went to sleep, time that we woke up. Obviously, school, she was always there in parents' evening, looking at our grades. There were quite a few rules in the house. Sundays was cleaning your room day. You basically don't come downstairs until your room is clean. So when I was at work as a manager, I was pretty much the same. My mum was quite strict, meaning, you must follow the rules. So was I. And as I grew up, I learned to do what I was told to do. Now, as a manager, I would expect my team to be basically doing the same. I would expect them to be at work on time. I would expect them to be working quite hard, and basically do as they were told, like what I did when I was a child. And so when they did not, it really used to agitate me. I would not understand why somebody could not come to work on time. You're getting paid. Why can you not do what you're asked to do? And so this is how I would feel. At work, in this particular job, I would move into my parent ego state. And that's where I would be. I would react from this state of mind. Helpful in some ways and extremely unhelpful in other ways. So understanding ego states is going to give me the opportunity to make the changes that I may wish to make. And they really were some changes that I wanted to make. In order for you to utilize ego states in a healthy way, you need to start thinking about who you was around the majority of the time growing up. So, for example, parents, guardian, caregivers, where were you? Did you go boarding school? If you did, which teachers or which friends or which people were you around a lot? Did you like them? So think of who you grew up with up until 19, 20, a young adult. Start thinking about who you was around the majority of the time as you were growing up. What were they like? Did you like them, or did you find them really difficult to get on with? Were they always having a go at you, or actually did you have a great relationship with them? Were they strict? Were they about discipline and getting things done? Did they have expectations of you, or were they warm? Were they soft? Were they angry, or were they quiet? What were they like? You need to start thinking about these things, because these are what ego states are all about. And when you want to start looking at a behaviour of yours that you want to change, or that you'd like to start responding differently to situations outside of you, then these are the things that you're going to need to know about yourself. Ego states are about you in particular. They are very specific to you. You cannot look to the person sitting next to you and go, oh, right, okay, well, when they're at work, they are a nurturing parent, which means I must be a nurturing parent. No, if you didn't have a nurturing parent in your upbringing, then, well, you are not going to move into a nurturing parent state of mind. So it's really important for you to be able to relate back to who you were growing up with and what they were like. What were their characteristics? What kinds of things did they say? Were they soft or were they sharp? Were they really angry or were they very loving? Were they very calm or were they very tense or anxious? Also start to think about what you were like as a child growing up. Were you quiet or were you quite loud? Were you mischievous or were you very, very well behaved? Did you prefer your own company or did you love to be around others? Did you like to play musical instruments or draw or play with Lego? Were you creative or were you more academic? Did you like doing maths? Did you like English? Did you enjoy school? Did you enjoy reading and writing? Or did you hate school? Did you get into trouble at school a lot? Or even at home? Did you have many friends at school and did you socialise? Have a real big think about these, because this is what you'll need to be able to use ego states in everyday life. We are in a state of mind most of the time. We move in and out of them within milliseconds. And this can be triggered by anything in our internal environment or in our external environment. So either through thoughts that I'm having or from somebody outside of me or a place or a smell, which will then trigger off my internal environment. There are 3 primary states of mind. They are parent, adult, and child, which are then broken down into a further 5 others, which is a critical parent and a nurturing parent, a free child, a rebellious child, and an adaptive child. To begin with, start to observe others around you. Now, you can't make any judgment because the moment that you do, you are no longer observing, you're judging. And the moment you start judging, you're thinking. What I want you to do is to look, watch, allow the information to digest and absorb. When you're going to work, or if you're going to study, or if you're at home watching TV, or whatever you're doing, start to observe others in your environment. Start to observe how things are making you feel. If you get agitated with something, start to observe what is going on. What you're going to do is start to break it down. Start to observe the body language, the tone of voice, and the message, what someone is saying, and use those to start to get to know yourself and to get to know others. An example could be that you have a boss at work that you feel as though doesn't know you as well as you'd like them to get to know you, and they're not aware of your geniusness of skills. And so you're thinking, I don't know how to communicate with this boss of mine in order for them to start to just recognise my contributions and to recognise, that I'm like a flipping genius. And so what you're looking at doing is understanding which ego state your boss tends to be in most of the time. How do he or she communicate? What kinds of things do they say? What kind of tone of voice do they say it in? Are they quite critical? Are they quite judgmental? Do they have patience, or are they quite bullying and bulldozing? Are they pushy, or are they quite soft? Are they warm? Are they do they like to use humour to get on with people? Are they soft? Are they somebody that you would find approachable or not approachable? And rational? Do they tend to use facts when they talk, or do they tend to use emotion? Are they quite emotively driven? Start to get to know them, because what you're going to do is, once you understand which ego state somebody tends to be in, you can now start talking to them from a state of mind that works with the state of mind that they tend to be in and not against. One of the biggest reasons that we have breakdowns in relationships is because one particular state of mind that is your default tends to be the opposite of the other person's state of mind that is their default. And so there are clashes upon clashes. Stay with this for now and move into an observational place. Once you get comfortable with this, check out part 2, and we're going to really start to break down these ego states and understand them from a perspective that you can utilize them in healthy ways. If you have any questions, if something didn't make sense, if you would just like to comment, or if you have certain situations that you would like help with and you'd like me to do a video on a particular subject, please do let me know. Stick something down in the comment section below, and I would love to hear from you, and I'd love to do a video to help you out. Please do subscribe, hit the like button, let's pass this information on, and check out video number 2.